Sodergren is a tech and AI expert. Morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Good morning. I am talking myself into hand them in the morning, pick them up when you leave. Simples. Would you agree or not?
Well, yeah, what I would say first of all is, of course, kids are all different ages, aren't they? So, it's a little bit like when TV came out and we had to bring in different rules like 12 plus or 15, these different things. So I think you have to have different rules with the different ages.
Why?
Also, mobile. Well, because because it's exactly the same thing we did with the TV. Certain TV is good. Mobile phones are multifaceted. We are kind of mixing together mobile phone use and social media use. Sometimes it can be educational when you're using your mobile phone. Other times it's just entertainment. The big one, though, when they're getting a bit older, young people will use mobile phones in the workplace. This is the future of work. It's likely to always have mobile phones involved. It's likely to always have things like automation and artificial intelligence and technology. It's going to be part of their workforce. It's going to be part of their work experience. It's going to be part of the economy, right? So to get rid of them from all schools, it doesn't matter what the age, that seems a little bit throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
So how would you see them being useful in schools, Dan?
Well, you've got to remember 5 years ago we were saying there should be more technology in school, not less. And we were asking for resources for schools, and rightly so. You can use mobile phones as teachers right now, and I have the joy of working with lots of educational people and lots of teachers with the AI teacher course. But you can do really clever things with it, like you can run quizzes, you can be doing research, you can be using AI. There's loads of things you can do inside the classroom with a mobile phone. Okay. Remember, a mobile phone is just a mini computer.
Sure, but let me bring in Tanya again. So, Tanya, have you thrown the baby out with the bathwater then by just saying no mobile phones in class at all?
Oh, no. Dan, you hit a classic there. Sometimes educational, sometimes entertainment. What will children pick? They're not going to pick education over entertainment if they have that choice in class or that access. I think very much so. We can't have different rules for different ages because one blanket rule is very straightforward. It's not confusing. It will be consistent. There's no mixed messages or I need to wait till I get into that year and then I can do X, Y, and Z. It just starts getting confusing. What we do ensure is that our pupils are computer literate, that our pupils have access to devices and access to mainstream computing systems so that they are ready for the world of work. I just see a blanket no is safer, more secure. For me, is that phrase that comes out, FOMO. Pupils have a fear of missing out if they think that they can get access to their social media and there's things happening that they need to act on immediately. The addictive nature is so concerning that I can't see any other way than a blanket ban.
Dan?
Yeah, no, and I'm completely with the caller as well when they talk about the addictive nature of social media and mobile phones. It's well documented. I have a teenage daughter myself, and so I'm not coming from this from a pure I love tech point of view. In fact, far from it. What I'm saying, though, is as Seamus rightly said, that sometimes teachers are, having to, because there's not enough resources in their school, they're having to say, OK, kids, let's now use our mobile phones because the Wi-Fi is not great, therefore use your own Wi-Fi. The technology is not great, so use your own technology. Give the schools more resources, give them more money, give them more time. Then I understand the ban because you're giving them the access to technology. And all I'm saying here is let them have access to technology because it's going to be hugely important. And just a quick one, Kay, as well. You're talking about how do you actually do this. I don't know if anyone else on the call has had this experience, but have you ever had an experience where you go in to watch someone, I don't know, watch a gig or watch a comedian, and you have to put them into a little bag, and that bag then...
Yeah, the magnetic bag.
The magnetic bag. I'm not going to say the name of the company because it's the BBC. I'm sure there's other versions available, but that's not particularly resource-intensive. However, we've got to remember the government has to give them this extra money. We can't just say, oh, we're bringing this in. Oh, by the way, we have no way of doing it.
But Tanya's kids, Tanya Davies is a head teacher. They put it in the locker.
Yeah, I think, not no disrespect to that lady, was it a private school? Because I think that's differently funded and that might have more resources. I'm not saying it does, by the way. I'm just making aware that...
Well, yeah, probably does. Tanya, I don't know what you know of the state system. Do you think that you are doing something that is only possible because of your additional resources, or it's something that could be viable within the state system?
I've taught in both. And I can see it viable in both systems. I do understand what Dan's saying as, if we don't have resources, and there is a fallacy that independent schools have, bursting with the seams with cutting edge. Many of us do, many of us don't. It's across the board. I think it's more than just having the resources. It's about interacting with each other. It's about being in the moment and present. And I just think, the amount of pastoral time and care that has to go into issues over phones is, I bet there's a PhD going on at the moment.
There is.
On
I
that.
mean, Tanya, I have to say we are getting quite a few texts from people saying, well, it's all right, for private schools, but it is very different in the state sector. There are parents who are suing councils for missing phones or broken phones, and they don't have the resources to police over 1,000 mobile phones being handed in every morning. So there is a feeling that in the private sector you're in a very different situation.
Okay, so turn your phone off, put it face down, put it on the desk. Simple. If you don't have lockers, if you don't have... I know that kit with the bag, that is an expensive resource. That means you're not spending it on books or other resources. Why can't a phone then, if you don't want to touch the phone, which I can totally understand, the phone is upside down and on the desk. Behavioural issues are behavioural issues that are going to happen irrespective of whether it's a phone issue. And that's, a completely different conversation.
Yeah, isn't it? Because a lot of what we're talking about is basic discipline, isn't it?
And we're afraid to say no, Kay. We're afraid to say no to young people.
Yeah. And we give the mobile phone this kind of almost mythical status whereby of all the things, because I keep mentioning vapes and I'm being told on text, well, actually, kids vape in school as well. But there's a whole range of behavioural issues that might manifest themselves in schools and teachers have to try and deal with them. Rather than giving the mobile phone special status, do we not just make it one of those things? And as you say, Tanya, you switch it off and you turn it upside down on your desk and that is it. And if you don't stick to that, then presumably there has to be some kind of punishment that is applied to that or some kind of sanction that's applied from that.